Hey, look, I know we told you it was a daily World Cup podcast. It's an almost daily World Cup podcast, but this has been the World Cup of broken promises, so that is thematically appropriate. The national curriculum here with you to talk four more exciting games. Well, three exciting games and another 0-0 draw. Josh Parrish here alongside Joey Lynch live from Doha. How are you, Joey?
I believe the scientific term is cooked.
Well, we already knew that, but we've got Ben Smith over in WA. Ben?
Greetings from 6:30 a.m. Western Standard Time. I've been
Ooh.
up since 5 with work, so shout out to Boss Coffee. If we can get a sponsorship, that would be great.
It would be nice to have some sort of caffeine-related sponsor to take us through the World Cup because, gee, 4 games a night is not sustainable. I have to say, even when you're like catching up on one on a mini match, it's rough. And coming to us from, I guess, after a heartbreaking but creditable 3-2 defeat to Portugal, Ghana superfan Pakua Frimpong. Pakua, how are you holding up?
Josh, I'm recovering. I'm feeling emotional. If I've seen nonsense, I want to discuss the nonsense, but I'll get over it eventually. If we don't qualify,
Can we get Pakua's dad on the show? I feel like he'd come in off the long run.
He's gone to work, and honestly, like the way we celebrated this morning the Andre Ayew goal, and the way I saw the pain and my dad just not react when Inaki Williams didn't score, and he was just like, "Yep, that just happened," with no emotion. It's been a long morning in this house. It's been a long morning.
Well, yes, if people haven't seen that game, what happened in the 7th minute of stoppage time, Pakua?
Oh no, Josh, 10th minute of stoppage time.
10th minute, sorry. Oh my goodness.
Last moment of play. So Ghana had crossed it in. We had a beautiful cross come in on the left-hand side. Portuguese keeper, I don't want to say his name because he was a shocker all game. Absolute stinker of a goalkeeper. Had the ball in his hands, and Inaki Williams done nothing all game. Stood so perfectly behind him as if the goalkeeper turned around, he wouldn't see Inaki Williams. Goalkeeper lets the ball on the ground. Inaki Williams, beautiful run, and slips, Josh, slips. Steven Gerrard level slippage. Open net, and he bottled it. And my first reaction was, surely that's a foul. But looking back on it, it wasn't, and we lose the game 3-2. It's very disappointing. As you can tell, my voice is a little bit gone.
A lot of screaming being done at 3 a.m. this morning.
Horrendous.
That sounds hilarious.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. It'll be hilarious when England lose in the final. That'll be hilarious.
I can't relate. I can't relate because we won 6-2, so.
That's nice, Joey. I see you switching your allegiance constantly, but it's all right, man. It's all right.
Who do I switch my allegiance? No. Who do I switch
England, you do your thing, man.
It's always England. It's always England. Everybody else on this pod will tell you.
It wasn't England at the Euros when they lost.
Yes, it was.
If you can't tell on the stream or if you're listening on the podcast, our background today is Bukhari doing the Ronaldo Sue celebration, even though he scored a consolation goal, or as it proved, when Ghana were down 3-2. Do you rate the shithousery, Pakua?
Oh, absolutely. Because the whole theme of this game was, Ronaldo this, Ronaldo that. And I don't think he had a particularly great game. And the fact that he got man of the match, he deserves this kind of embarrassment that we troll him even when we're losing, because he didn't even have that good of a game.
He did make World Cup history, however, becoming the first man to score in 5 World Cups. So, it was a penalty, a
what?
Semi-dubious penalty.
What? No. Shut up, Josh.
No, I'm saying the goal he scored was from a penalty. That is a statement of fact.
I just feel like this is why I don't come on here with you sometimes, because you do this nonsense. Oh, I'm devil's advocate. I'm Josh. I'm gonna be different. No. Okay? Wasn't a penalty. Forget it.
It's a statement of fact that he scored from 12 yards. Whether or not the penalty should have been awarded is quite another matter. I think you've gone early there, Pakua. But so you're saying it's a disgrace?
It is what Didier Drogba said. It is a disgrace. Shambolic is what it was. Salisu, the issue I have with the penalty is that I can understand why the referee has given a penalty from his angle, right? But if we're going to insist on VAR being relevant, and it's been relevant throughout this entire tournament on multiple occasions, the fact that VAR wasn't, and Sean Evans letting me down again in the VAR box, I don't know what that man's doing. The fact that VAR didn't even check it for a penalty, like check overview it frustrates me because if you can see on multiple angles that Salisu gets the ball first and makes contact with Ronaldo after, I do think it was poor from Salisu to go in because Ronaldo was heading away from goal and Ronaldo wanted a penalty. But I still think Salisu gets there first and gets the ball first.
I do have to point out that the rule isn't if you get the ball first, everything's kosher.
No, but I don't think he makes enough contact with Ronaldo for Ronaldo to go down and for it to be awarded a penalty. He gets there first. He gets the spot first.
I agree with you, Pakua. You know, I'm very much on there down with CR7 hype train. I just wanted to be a devil's advocate.
Yeah, look at that. Joey incorporating the Josh antics. And this is why I don't come onto the show. I don't like it.
Joey switched his allegiance to Portugal.
Yeah, exactly. See this?
No, get absolutely stuffed. Get stuffed.
Well, Ronaldo took the lead for Portugal after a scoreless first half. Andre Ayew with the equaliser. But I have to say I was quite impressed, Pakua, with the performance of Mohamed Kudus in the Ghanaian midfield.
Josh, I said in my tweet when the Ghana squad got announced that Kudus is going to have the tournament like Kevin Sprint Boateng did in 2010. And he's proved that. And the only downside about his entire game today was the fact that he got a yellow card. Because it makes it like we're in a precarious situation heading into these next two games. His performance, his work rate, the turns that he was doing in the midfield, because he's the only Ghana player who was moving forward a lot of the time, because Thomas Partey is a defensive midfielder. His natural instinct is not to go forward. Kudus was making the runs. Andre Ayew had the experience of being in a World Cup before. They just linked up so well. I still cannot understand, and me and my dad could not rationalize why Otto Addo made the decision to take Kudus and Andre Ayew off at the same time. And as soon as he took them both off, we conceded 2 goals in a span of 5 minutes. Kudus was our best player. Asamoah Gyan is also saying, why are we taking him off? Because we lose all our rhythm forward. And I get it, we got these strikers, but Ghana's thing is we're decent at the attack and we're decent in the back. But the midfield, our linking, that's where we struggle a lot of the time. And you're taking the player who drives us forward off. I cannot stand it. But Kudus had a sensational game and he's going to have an incredible tournament when we make the round of 16.
Oh, he almost scored one of the goals of the tournament with a run from about halfway line and then flashing past the post with that strike from distance. And, he was sensational. The run he made to tee up Ayew's equaliser was also really impressive. But then, as you say, the substitutions made by Otto Addo, and then immediately, Andre Ayew is still celebrating the equaliser with his teammates on the bench and then turns around and has the horrible realisation that Portugal have scored. And I have to say, Baba Rahman, for a couple of the goals, I was not impressed.
No, Josh, this is the thing, yeah? I don't understand why Baba Rahman has lost his senses. He knows full well that lots of Ghana fans did not want him in this squad. And the fact that he is made such a mess in the back, I don't understand why he wants pain and suffering when he goes to Ghana on a holiday. I don't understand, because he had a stinker. I thought Salisu was so great. I was like, Baba Rahman, do you not want to go to Kumasi? Do you not want to go to Accra? Do you not want to be invited in Christmas? Because shambolic. This is what he does sometimes. He's prone to these levels of brain farts, and he's one of the only 3 players who's been to the World Cup before. And this man has lost his mind again. Deep breaths.
Yeah, he was I guess on skates for a couple of them. Didn't really know where his marker was. He was trying to look at the ball, and then the marker was getting away from him down the blind side, and he wasn't able to intercept or track the runner for either of them. A couple of very nicely timed passes, it must be said, from Bruno Fernandes, who, while not having a great overall game, Ben, made some key contributions with his final balls.
He did. We know kind of Bruno Fernandes has that in his locker. He's done very much of a similar thing for Manchester United this year, where he's just got that. He has a habit of maybe going missing in games, and I'm sure we'll talk about another player a bit later who also went missing and then showed up when the chips were down. But yeah, he'll always have that presence in the final third where you need to keep an eye on him at all times. He can produce that moment of quality, and that pass for Rafael Leao's the third goal was that's just inch perfect. And watching the Uruguay South Korea game earlier in the night, Uruguay's best chance was a breakaway, which it was Oliveira just completely overhit the slip pass through to Darwin Nunez, and the chances wasted. Whereas you look at Fernandes on that third goal, and it's just an inch perfect pass, and Leo just sweeps it home. It's doesn't get much easier than that.
Yeah, I mean, it looked offside in live play. Even the commentary was calling it as offside. And there were a few issues with the commentators in this game, notably the Bakari goal being mis-ID'd.
Honestly,
that was
it was apparently Jordan Ayew.
This is the thing. I can't make any comments about commentary because I had a stinker, but I could not understand why they were talking about Jordan Ayew. I was like, Jordan Ayew was the build-up to that play.
He was nowhere near the box.
He was nowhere near the ball.
And then the commentator doubled down when it cut to the close-up of Bakari as well. It's like
Jordan Ayew is a light-skinned brother. Bakari is not a part of the light-skinned bandhood. So I don't really understand how we've got them confused.
It was also. I also think it's just bad form to say it looks offside as the goal's being scored, because it might not be. You can do it as after they wheel away, question mark about offside or whatever. But it kind of ruins the moment where you're saying it's not a goal, and then you go, oh, it is a goal, and it was too close. It was too close to call it like that. Anyway. Yeah. Lovely finish from the substitute Rafael Leao. I feel contractually obliged to point to his performance after Nick DeBano couldn't stop hyping him in the lead up to the tournament. Did not start.
I do really rate Rafael Leao, and I couldn't believe that he didn't start. And my comment to my dad, who kind of watches football but he's not up to it. I was like, the high fraud alert, the fact there's high fraud alerts for this Portuguese side, the fact that Rafael Leao is not starting. This is why we can win the game, because smart decisions are not being made on that side of the park. So for him not to start was crazy, but I thought when he came on, he looked calm and he was smiling even before the ball hit the back of the net. That's just his confidence level at the moment.
Love that energy. But I just think there's massive question marks in central defence for this Portuguese team. Ben, do you want to jump in on that? Because Danilo Pereira is not the answer.
If Danilo Pereira is the answer, the question is which centre-back looks so suspect that you would not trust him to guard not a 3-0 lead. He was at fault for both of Ghana's goals. I think the first one just went kind of through his legs. He tried to clear it and it just nutmegged him. And but I mean, that happened on a Sunday League park. You'd be embarrassed. The fact it's happening at a World Cup is it's not great, Bob. I said coming into this tournament that Portugal were going out in the group stages. When I kind of woke up, checked the results, it was like, oh, maybe I've been wrong. Maybe I was wrong about Portugal, but from what I've read, from what I've seen this morning, kind of catching up on the games, I still don't. They've got all this attacking talent, but they're so committed to this kind of suffer ball approach, which is the coach, is it Fernando Santos is still the coach?
Yes,
has been kind of he's made that his calling card, and they did win the Euros in 2016 playing that way, which that 2016 final was one of the worst games of football I think I've ever watched.
You don't
That
like that
was
goal, Meta?
it was a great goal. I actually loved the goal. That was the one moment of quality in the entire 2 hours. I'm still very traumatized and receiving therapy for getting up at 3 a.m. in the morning to watch that game. It was
My
I've got a
defining
lot of
memory of
beef.
that is Andre Pierre Gignac being France's only hope to score a goal, and it
And
just didn't work
Ronaldo
out for them
coaching
somehow.
and Ronaldo coaching from the
Yeah.
sidelines after he came off injured, and he was just the
crying.
one basically throwing magnets at the board and saying, you go there, press, drop.
And
But
Fernando
yeah,
Santos hasn't had a new idea since then. Like, he's
No,
been
but
coaching the team for 8 years.
But the problem with this Portuguese side is their inability to make the big decision, because the big decision is to put Ronaldo on the bench, because you have better players that will allow you to play a more fluid system. Because if they make that better decision, it might the early changes they might struggle, but the long term and your ability to grow as a country in terms of your playing style, you will be rewarded for it in the future by giving these younger players playing time than playing Ronaldo up front, who doesn't connect your midfield to your attack. He just stands up the top.
But the coach isn't going to bench himself, Bakura. The real coach, I mean. He's not going to.
He's
He's not going to
He's
sub
not.
himself off.
He's not.
So-
But this was a game for Ghana to win, and I felt confident in it. I think we could have got a point out of it, and probably should have got a point out of it. But Portugal are not getting out of this group. They are suspect, and they do not play nice football to watch.
I'm keen to get Joey involved before he falls asleep. Joey, I know you're pushing through the ticker barrier right now. Ronaldo becoming not only the first man to score in 5 World Cups, obviously Marta doing it first in the women's game, but also the second oldest World Cup goal scorer ever behind Roger Miller, which I think is a stat that would actually annoy Ronaldo more than anything, because it just points to how fucking old he is. Can he go again? Is he going to break Miller's record? Is he going to go to 6?
If he wants to, the way that Portugal, the Portuguese FA and everyone, that entire sort of federation seems to tiptoe around what does Ronaldo want and how can we make Ronaldo a happy boy. I get the feeling he could be, he could put his feet up for 3 years, announce a comeback, and then probably pick him anyway, just because that seems to be what this Portuguese FA do. So I think he can go around again. Might just depend on A, if he wants to, and B, if the Portuguese Federation can grow a spine or not.
Oh, he wants to, Joe. He wants to. He wants 600 million Instagram followers. Don't worry about it. He wants to.
Ronaldo's not going to have a club for the next 3.5 years, and he's still going to lead the line
He's still going to lead the line. Are you kidding?
in
Come on.
2026
A statue
at
of
the,
him
Ameri-
playing starting 11.
the American Soccer World Cup.
Oh well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the thing that will be holding him. It might depend on the draw that the Portuguese get for the 2026 World Cup. If he doesn't have to travel to the US, maybe he comes back. If they're drawn in a US-based group, maybe he doesn't come back.
I didn't even think of that, but that would be incredible if Ronaldo's availability was dictated by whether the games are in Toronto or Mexico City.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes. Disclaimers attached. Pakua, how do you feel about Ghana's chances of qualifying now? Obviously they played well in that second half, unlucky, but still on 0 points coming into this second game against South Korea. Probably a good result for Ghana, given that South Korea and Uruguay drew, and you're only 1 point off the second place.
No, I think that I'm really confident with the fact that Portugal was our first game, because now that both sides have to both Uruguay and South Korea have to face Portugal now, and if we can, I feel confident in the way we play. If we play more attacking and play more confident and less restrictive in ourselves, because I think the first 45 minutes of that Portugal game we were we restricted ourselves not to lose the game, which down the line we lost it for ourselves in many ways. But I think we played well enough, and especially that Uruguay game, I don't think Ghanaian players are wanting to lose that, especially Andre Ayew, who was there for that. I think it's really important we get a point there, and think we're a better team than South Korea, in my opinion. But that's just me. I'm just biased.
Any changes you want to see for the second game?
Yeah. Seidu, thank you. Farewell. Tariq Lamptey, get on the
Thanks and
field.
success.
Thanks and success. Get off the field. That man was shambolic at times. And I asked my dad, I was like, is he from Kumasi? And my dad goes, yeah, how did you know that he was from Kumasi? I said, well, because the man's so short, why is he out there getting killed?
And you're going to replace him with Tariq Lamptey?
No, because Tariq Lamptey's at least got pace, Josh, at least got pace for his shortness, okay? Seidu wasn't providing anything. That short king did not deserve to be out there. And all their attacks were coming down that side. It was torturous to watch him. Thanks and success. Bye-bye. And Arco Williams, unless we're going to play 3 at the front, I do not want to see him just play by himself up there because he was ineffective this entire game. And I couldn't believe he wasn't the one who came off instead of Kudus. Baba Rahman, thanks and success, get off the field. Otoado, take charge and let the Ghana FA take the shackles off this man and let him make some decisions because the Baba Rahman shackles are tight at the moment. They need to be let go.
We've got Nick Stoll joining the stream. Welcome, Stoll.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am as tired as is possible to be, but it is great to be here. What a night of football we've had. I may be hallucinating this. I do not know if I'm dreaming this, but it is very good to see you all in this very moment. I don't know where in the conversation I'm joining you, but it seems like Baku was quite annoyed about Ghana's performance against Portugal. One thing I'll say on this game, I don't know if you saw it. There's a replay. Everyone, if you have to watch the full game to see this, when Rafael Leal scores his goal, he's smiling. He has this massive smile on his face before he hits the ball. I've never seen such confidence. The angle was tough. This wasn't a tap.
Not since Ronaldinho and his Barcelona pomp.
Man, it was like, I genuinely was like, this is like the smile on his face before he touched the ball. It was one of the great World Cup moments. The second, almost the greatest World Cup moment ever, might have been Iñaki Williams nearly stealing that ball at the end to potentially make it 3-3. We were robbed right then of one. That would have been one of the greatest things. And then if they cut to Ronaldo's face of him just being so pissed off with his teammate, that's what the World Cup's all about.
Steven Gerrard's slippage right there.
Yeah, look, I don't really have much coherent thoughts in general in life, but about anything that's happening right now. But I'll just say, amazing goal, Richarlison. Brazil look all right. Portugal look all right it was an amazing game, actually, Portugal-Ghana. Uruguay, whoever they played, can't remember now. No good.
South Korea.
South Korea.
Very forgettable. Eminently forgettable game, and Ben Smith watched all of it.
Oh, good on you, Ben. I don't know what time zone you're in Western Australia.
Uruguay, South Korea was 9 p.m, so it was actually a pretty good time for FITBA watching hours.
So you get 6 p.m, 9 p.m, and midnights over there.
Yep.
WA.
And 3 a.m.
No.
Yeah. As I was saying earlier, I've been up since 5 this morning, working on World Cup wraps on the westaustralian.com. Cheap plug, hashtag.
Good plug.
Do we want to talk about Uruguay, South Korea? There's not too much to.
We
want
to talk about Brazil, Serbia, and then the Socceroos, so I can go to bed.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that first because Stoll came on and said that he was tired. Joey looked
Might fall asleep
to camera like Jim Halpert on The Office.
Hey, by the way, Lockie's here as well. I don't know.
Oh god, I have to scroll down to get him in the stream. There we go. Finally, this is
I feel like I'm on the Brady brunch.
Serious Brady brunch areas here.
Congratulations, Lockie. A-League's newest signing, the marquee man. The rumors were Cristiano, but we went one better.
He was too busy destroying Ghana last night and getting man of the match. So
Well, it
I-
didn't
I-
play
I-
well.
Lucky I know where you
I'm
live,
just
yeah? Lucky
saying
I know
whatever's
where
going
you
to
live,
trigger
yeah?
Pakua.
When you get eggs thrown at your house, you know who did it. Just know that. You know who did it.
I hope you
I-
know
I-
which
I-
one of the apartments in my complex to throw eggs at. Best
Oh,
of
lucky
luck.
I
I
do.
did-
And I know that window's open. Watch me have perfect
That's true.
game.
Pakua has been in the walls of the house. She's a threat.
I did have
Anything
a
further
question.
from? Sorry, Joe.
I had a question for Lockie. How did Scotland go in the World Cup? I missed their game.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Ha
Team making.
ha. Very
They had a
funny.
good 0-0 draw with Italy.
This
I hear.
guy talks so much crap about Scotland, a team that they could not beat on the way to a final that they crashed. The two teams that Joey makes the most fun about are the two teams his side could not beat at the last major tournament. So, meh. Disregard this man. That's what I'm saying.
Pakua, I know you have to
Well,
get going, so I'm going to give you one last chance.
Don't.
Any further Ghana national team thoughts before we let you go?
No thoughts, Josh. Just vibes, because that's what the Ghana national team is doing. But you know what? I do want to say, I do really love the fact, like, for the Ghana fans in Qatar, there is a lot of Ghana fans who are there because they work and like are doing a lot of things to get better things for their family. So I think it's really, and I know you're making a face, Joey, but for a lot of Ghanaians, it's really hard to get into the Western countries.
No,
so
I'm trying to stay awake. I'm not making a face. I'm trying to
no,
move my
but
eyeball.
I am. It feels. I love the atmosphere at the stadiums, and I love the fact that for those people who are so far away from their families, they're able to enjoy Ghana playing at this tournament and hopefully getting out of the group stage. So I'm really, really excited to see the fan atmosphere for the last few games we play.
Just on that, there's actually a great Twitter thread from James Montague who writes about human rights in football and stuff. And he was at the workers' fan zone in like one of the industrial zones. There's like a cricket stadium or something that they're building, and they had the fan zone set up there. And there were like loads and loads of, as you say, Pakua, Ghanaian migrant workers there watching their team. And there's a whole lot of people there just to support Ronaldo, apparently, because he's his own fan club. It's amazing.
fans.
Those
500
people
followers
need
on
help.
Instagram.
If you're still a Ronaldo stan in the year of our Lord 2022,
Yeah,
get
but
help.
hold on. He actually is the only player in this tournament who doesn't have a club currently. He is literally Ronaldo FC now. Like, this is the perfect kind of ending for him. He is just an own individual unit. That's what he's always wanted.
Do you
Teammates
reckon
holding back.
Do you reckon
Ronaldo-
someone will pitch that to him? Like, there will be some tycoon who will be like, all right, well, we can't find a club for you that works.
Yeah.
Let's make your own club. 50-50 partnership.
Yeah, entity. Just make yourself a brand. Like, honestly.
He would do.
But congrats to him scoring in a 5th World Cup. Yeah, that is
Ronaldo looked at Lucas Neal in the lead up to the 2014 World Cup and went, "That's the kind of life I want."
A lot of similarities between those two. No, not really.
Well,
Pakua,
farewell.
thanks for success. Best of luck for the rest of the tournament. We're rooting for Ghana.
Well,
And
Ben Smith is
yeah,
not. And just remember, Ben, when we make it out of the group, you'll be the first person I tweet at.
Hey, shout out Dub Zone. Pakua on Dub Zone.
Shout out Dubzone.
and I think Pakua's making a list like Arya
dude.
from Game of Thrones. You
Ben
got
Smith
a list of
Ben
names,
Smith
list of
and-
Twitter
Ben-
handles.
Ben
You
Smith
sit there
and,
reciting the Twitter handles every night before bed.
Ben Smith and Athos Sirianos, they are high on that list. Very, very high on that.
Okay, bye, Pakua. Thanks for success. Let's
I might
move
go
on.
just lock my door quickly. I'm worried
Oh,
Pakua's going to show
yeah.
That's where she's got off screen to like.
I've got
murder me.
if it makes you feel any better, I have to now set up my egg defenses after this show at my house. I need like a counter strike. I don't know. What's it, like an anti-egg missile or something?
Brazil 2, Serbia 0. The headlines stolen by Richarlison here. The only Brazilian player to publicly support Lula in the elections, I might add. But he came out on top, scoring, firstly, a tap-in, but the second one, my God, stole. Is that the best goal of the tournament so far?
Yeah, easily. And, as someone who was producing TV coverage and was desperately looking for highlights to fill a long post show, thank you, Richarlison. Obrigado. What an amazing goal. And a guy who probably, of all Brazil's forwards probably was considered the weakest, I think, coming into this. There's obviously a lot of talk about Neymar and Vinicius and even kind of Rodrigo and Martinelli. So an amazing goal for him, an amazing goal for Brazil. There is some concerns over Neymar's injury, which, obviously would be a massive blow for them. Neymar didn't have the best game, but still, and obviously they have amazing depth. And, if ever you were going to look to a bench to replace him, but still that would be, a pretty sad moment for them. But look, Brazil.
I do have the current word from the Brazilian doctor on Neymar.
Right. Do you speak Portuguese?
I'm in an ESPN FC chat that's been put in there, and this is an ESPN production. So what do you know? So he suffered a trauma. That just might be a translation thing. A trauma to his ankle. They need to wait 24 to 48 hours before they can properly assess it because they have to let the swelling go down. Thinking is that it's a sprained ankle.
Wow.
See, Joey, when you said he suffered a trauma, I assumed like he and Ben, like Ben and I, he watched South Korea, Uruguay. Like, yeah, fair enough.
Emotional
No,
damage indeed.
he took the Brazilian election pretty hard.
I'm just going to let that one lie for a second. Joey, you were at this game. What was the atmosphere like?
Yes, at the great Golden Palace that is the Lusail Stadium in northern Doha, a gigantic gleaming edifice representative of everything in this World Cup, the billions spent and the like, and all. But we'll go into that.
Apologies.
Who was? I swear to God.
Joey's going to be like Roy Keane in that press conference.
Why is Nick Tabano calling me? That's all. It's a saboteur.
Somebody mute Lockie, please. Otherwise, I'm going to kick him. And I'm going to let you decide how I'm going to kick him.
Hey, Lockie's an official representative of the league now. We must show him respect.
Lockie will remember that.
I feel like that makes me obligated to kick him even harder. Okay, this game, it was an interesting watch. The first half, I actually thought Serbia were playing all right. They never looked like scoring in that first 45 minutes, but at the same time, I never really got the vibe that Brazil were going to score in that first half either. Like, they weren't really... They had two breakaway one-on-ones on goal, which resulted from Serbian defensive errors. But other than that, I didn't feel like they were creating high-quality looks on goal. But then the second half started, and I don't know what was said in the dressing rooms at halftime, what changes were made, but Brazil really began to assert themselves as the second half commenced. Richarlison gets his first. Brazil become even more rampant as the Serbians are forced to sort of open up and poke their heads out from their shells and maybe look to get something. Richarlison then gets another, and the rest is history. It was just really in that second half, just being at the stadium and watching the Brazilians on the ball, you could just feel the confidence oozing off them. The way that they always wanted the ball, they always wanted to control it, they always wanted to run at a man, dribble with it, and just try to make something happen. It was everything A-League. It was everything A-League midfields weren't.
Well, that confidence is not a stadium exclusive. The Brazilians at my local five-a-side have the exact same confidence. Not the same technique, not the same ability, but the same confidence.
It's just a Brazilian thing, maybe.
It's
but
just a Brazilian thing.
By the end of the game, it really was a joy to watch. Just them on the ball, faffing around.
Oh, what a comment from our Liga. Joey is looking that tired. He's resembling Prince Philip in that car. That is the all-time. That's an all-timer.
No, but so Brazil, I think, especially with Argentina's loss to Saudi Arabia, Brazil are now the favourites for this tournament in my mind. Spain will have to see them play a team better than Costa Rica. England will find a lot more out about them when they play what is reported to be an unchanged 11 against the United States. But for now, I'm saying Brazil look like they're and of course France as well. Maybe we'll have to see what France look like when they're not playing Australia. But for now,
More to come at the World Cup.
yeah.
I mean,
but
is
Brazil the
Brazil
favourites.
is Brazil the presumptive favourite, or is Spain the presumptive favourite now after their performance
You, ca-
against
you
Costa
can't
Rica?
you can't call Spain the presumptive favourites until they play somebody not as dog shit as Costa Rica was
I mean,
that
yeah,
night.
Josh, I remember your diatribe about Costa Rica, like the fact that Joel
Yeah.
Campbell's still in the squad. You can't give them too much credit, I don't think, for that one.
That's true, but I thought Brazil were terrible in the first half. Maybe look, I thought they were really
skinny.
ordinary. There was a line of
described them as-
4, a line of 2, and another line of 4 all the way out the pitch, and they just had no fluidity at all.
I described them as skittish. I wouldn't describe them as terrible. It looked like they were still sense of occasion maybe got to them in the same way that it has a few of the other big nations early on in this tournament. But
Look,
I still
again,
think they weren't terrible.
this
Again,
is cultural. Brazilians always show up late. All right. You ever have a party, Brazilians? They take a little while. Hey, tranquilo, você. It's all good. Relax. I'll be there soon. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Second half, okay, boom, boom, boom. And then, having a little party with the Richarlison goal. So it's all good. Brazil are just warming up.
do you want to know another thing that might be cultural about Brazilians? Assigned seating means nothing. As sitting in the media tribune in the overflow seating, I look up, still waiting for a whole bunch of journos to rock up. They haven't rocked up. There's about 45 minutes to kick off. I look down at my laptop, keep writing, close my laptop, look up again, and about 100 Brazilians who have just seen these empty seats closer to the stadium have just mashed my graces.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
over the course of the next 45 minutes, these journos will start rocking up and looking very awkward, looking at their seat, looking at their ticket, back to the seat, back to my seat, and all of that sort of stuff. So maybe that's another Brazilian cultural thing.
Yeah, look, that's how you put 5 stars on your shirt. All right, by not when someone tells you where to sit, you go, I don't care about that.
It's the difference
Ruthless
between
mentality.
5 stars and 3 lines.
Yeah,
Quicken the dead.
rather than the stiff upper lip. Well, it's supposed to be my spot. But they
Oh
can.
God, I'm so embarrassed now because when I got to Cameroon, Switzerland, there was somebody sitting in my seat at a desk, and instead of saying anything, I just went and found another seat.
look, hey,
True
can we
English.
just say, Joey, that is much better than English people's history of going to where they should have gone. So, look, I think it's a massive improvement. Well done.
Oh dear. Anyone else want to chime in on Brazil and what they saw? There were some crazy long shots against the woodwork. I love that Martin Tyler just said Roberto Carlos when Alexandro shot from range. He just went with Roberto Carlos because that's just instantly evocative.
Or is that because he thought Roberto Carlos was actually playing in this game?
I think there was a disclaimer beforehand is like channeling Roberto Carlos or something, but that was really quiet, and then the name was really loud, so it sounded like Roberto Carlos had just come out of retirement, which was fantastic.
He was in the stands actually, and by the way,
Yeah.
fun fact: Roberto Carlos, 11 children to 7 different women. So imagine his
You want to know another fun fact about Roberto Carlos?
still
one
South
time
Melbourne manager.
Yeah, one time South Melbourne coach in waiting.
If only how
Generally,
we were robbed
sitting
by
there
the
waiting
expansion
for the
process.
phone to ring from the South Melbourne higher ups. Just checks it. Still hasn't gone off.
Hey,
No,
he's-
still nothing from Lakeside. Okay.
He's just waiting for
I mean-
that text. The NSD is coming. We need you.
He
Go to
is
the
glued. He is glued to your ESPN reporting. Every interview with James Johnson, Roberto Carlos is like, "Is this happening? When's the date? When's the start date? 2023, 2024? What's going on here?" But
I'm surprised he hasn't got a text saying you have a son who was born in Melbourne approximately 9 months after you visited.
and he's now playing futsal with Nick Stoll and turning up half an hour late. I loved all the Arsenal fans on Twitter saying, "How is Gabby Jesus not starting? What is this manager on?" Lockie, Arsenal Twitter in mud.
Oh, Matt, yeah. I mean, when have they not been in mud, to be perfectly honest with you? Some of the stuff I've seen, honestly. I'm worried Pakua will come back now and somehow manage to throw eggs through the webcam. But I love Richarlison for reasons I can't explain. It's very much like a vibes-based analysis, but it's just like no one expects Richarlison, you know? Like there's so many other interesting things happening in this Brazil attack. No one's expecting Richarlison.
He's not the bloody Spanish Inquisition.
Did you see what he said about what he wanted to do post his career, his retirement?
No.
He said, "I want to go to an island with a bunch of women like Ronaldinho in that famous picture."
And maybe he'll end up with 11 children across 7 different people as well.
But the best thing about it was he just openly said it like, it's not like, I don't see myself as a coach, or he didn't frame it anything like that. Just, here's what I want to do. Let's make it happen. So, and you know what? He's a step closer after scoring that goal. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm just glad we haven't heard Neymar's truly deepest held desires. Otherwise, that would be a bit problematic. But let's talk about
just
one quick thing on Neymar. So Neymar said pre-tournament when the election was in Brazil that he was going to dedicate his first goal to Bolsonaro. Looks like Neymar might have cursed himself and might be getting the big donuts if the injury is correct.
Yeah, look, Pakua's back. Oh no.
Lockie,
I said this would happen.
Lockie, you see, you're not an Arsenal fan. You're not allowed to talk about Arsenal players, yeah? Understand it and know it, okay? Leave Gabriel Jesus alone. I don't know what your hate is.
I didn't say. Hey, I never said anything about Gabby Jesus. I love him. But I just think Arsenal Twitter is brain dead.
Lockie, we don't want to hear from you. You're a traitor. You're a Judas. We don't want to hear from you. Okay? We don't
Can I say something? Well, I have a question actually for Kua. How does it feel for Arsenal's golden boy to be put in the mud by Spurs' golden boy?
Spurs golden boy. If that's their golden boy, that's why they've won.
Have you seen him play for Spurs? Come on, Joey.
Come on.
He's not doing that for Spurs. He's not doing that for Spurs in a million years.
If I hear I'm trying to again, I'm coming back. Okay, leave us out of your mouth. We don't want to hear from you. We don't know you. You're a traitor. Get away from us.
Keep your club's name.
I didn't realize Pakua became the arbiter of online discourse. Just going to appear at different podcasts going, "You can't say that."
Yeah,
I can't imagine how many podcasts would be immeasurably improved by that.
I'm going to listen to the Bill Simmons podcast later, and he's going to butcher the pronunciation of Wembenyama, and Pakua's just going to come in and go, "You can't say that. How dare you, Bill Simmons?"
Here's Pakua interrupting and the rewatchables.
Pakua's going to be talking about how Chris Paul should have been a soccer player. Pakua's going to pop up.
Hey, he would have been a sensational midfielder, okay? Sensational.
Oh, really?
Wow. It feels like Richarlison's having a moment right now.
Hey, you know what? I did actually watch Cameroon today and think to myself, I wonder if they could get Joel Embiid in this line.
Well, one of their fullbacks looked like LeBron James.
Yes.
Did you see the lookalike?
Yeah.
Hey, LeBron even said I have to do other things on my 5-game break. So.
Well, you know what? Actually, I think we should have just committed to this bit and told America, actually, we finally did it. You always wondered what it'd be like if LeBron ever played soccer.
And he lost 1-0 to Switzerland.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I've got to go. I've got stuff to do. I've got prep. But Lockie,
right.
if I hear from you again, I'll be back. Don't worry about it.
I'm sure we'll say your name 3 times later on in the show and summon you again, Pakua. I could bet on it. But see ya. Thanks and success. Let's do
Socceroos and then let me go to bed.
Okay, all right.
Joey, what's local time there?
It's like 2:30, isn't it?
Let me check. Hold on.
Okay, he's gone.
Goodbye, Joey. Bit of a Sopranos ending.
It's
cut to black.
It's 2:13. It's 2:13 in the morning, and I've been up since 5:15.
All right, well, give us your
5:15 p.m. Crazy.
5:15 a.m. style. We had to play I had to get some work done, and then we played the Media versus Football Australia game.
Give us who's the best player in the media pack.
Chad Gibson.
Doesn't
Of
count.
course.
Not ex-pro, not ex-pro.
Me.
Who's the worst? Who had a stinker? Let's not
Let's
say they're
say-
the worst player.
let's
Let's say who
say
had a
he's-
stinker.
Let's say he's
don't
not a
wanna say
doctor,
it.
but he is a billionaire.
Money can't buy you footballing talent. Oh dear. I was hearing that a certain APL bigwig missed a sitter.
Yeah,
Nick
from
Devano
about 2 yards
choked.
out. No, Mr. Tom Smitty's missed a wide open shot from only a few yards out. I think that would have put us ahead at the time. Instead, real turning point, we went on along and lost 4-2. Adrian Archuli got himself sent off for handling the ball outside the box.
So all those goalkeeper jibes were, just projection style.
Look. All I'll say is I'm not surprised in the least that Adrian managed to get himself sent off in a friendly match.
Joey,
I was
sorry.
just holding on for dear life trying to play centre back.
Mm.
My
Kind of
lungs
like
are at 40%.
Kai Rolls and Harry Sutar the other night then.
Quite. My lungs are at 40% capacity, so I was just trying to figure out where the ball was going, so I could just walk over there before anything actually happened.
Well, it sounds like from that performance you're in line for a start against Tunisia, Joey. Who else do you think is going to come into this Socceroos team?
I think we're going to see a few changes. Arnold was in some embargoed quotes. Arnold sort of felt evasive about it, so I'm not going to go into any more detail because they're embargoed, but I feel like we'll at least get 2 changes.
Say what
In
it
the back
rhymes
line?
with, and we'll guess.
No, he didn't tell us who the changes would be.
Okay.
This is me guessing. I think Bajic is likely safe. One, because they've put him up for the matchday -1 press conference tomorrow, which is generally a good indicator that someone's starting. I think we'll see at least 1 change at centre back, and I feel like he's going to go right down to the wire on changing right back. Normally, if we were playing the Danes, I think he would change right backs, go to Fran Karacic. The fact that we'll be playing against the Tunisians, where Australia will likely be more ball dominant and more the more phases of possession will be played in Tunisia's half, maybe is going to be the saving grace of Nathaniel Atkinson, given that he's the more attack-minded right back in that collection. I'm going to be very interesting to see what happens in the midfield. Aiden Hrustic didn't play against France, obviously, but one would think he'd be capable of coming back. So if you slot him in as the 10, that leaves, I imagine Jackson Irvine stays as the 8. But I'm going to be very interesting to see what happens with the 6th position. Because I'm not sure, did anybody else actually watch Tunisia-Denmark?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. That bald bloke with the beard who played in the middle, what's his name again? The Destroyer?
Oh, no. Shkiri's one with a mask, isn't he?
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah, that guy.
I'm
Anyway,
both-
old mate.
Blake. He's
Old
going to
mate.
basically turn the midfield into a war zone. Just like he's going to be throwing himself away. Like about a few minutes into that game.
Laiduni.
Yeah, Laiduni.
He nearly scored for them, right? He had that breakaway, yeah.
No, that was the number 9. They just look very alike. But like about 10 minutes into the game, less than 10 minutes, he put in a crunching slide tackle on Christian Eriksen, and he celebrated like he just won the World Cup. Like he's going to throw
Scott
himself
Brown
around.
areas.
Yeah, pretty much. He's going to throw himself around. He's going to turn the entire midfield into a battle zone. And I'm not sure if Aaron Moy, with his widely acknowledged physical limitations at this point, is the person that you want to be getting involved in that sort of battle with him. So that could open the door for a Cameron Devlin or
imagine
Keanu
Cammy
back
Devlin
at the
riling Liaduni up. Someone's going to get a red card.
I know, it'd be fantastic. But it also could work for the Socceroos in that front. I think Goodwin and Lackey stay. I mean, they combined for the goal. One of the few positives you can take from that front's game. And then it'll be very interesting to see who plays up front. Does he go back to the battering ram that is Mitch Duke, thinking that, you know, they're going to have lots of the ball? Inevitably, when the Socceroos have lots of the ball against an embedded defence, that means lots of crosses. Mitch Duke can get his head on it. Or does he go with a more incorporative Jason Cummings, or does he go with a poacher in Jamie McLaren? I don't know. If I could predict Graham Arnold's moves at this point, I wouldn't be working in football journalism. I'd have a much higher paid job somewhere in analytics. But those are the questions.
You know, you could be working at a carnival as a fortune teller.
Yeah, that would be the world's shittest carnival attraction. Come hear what Graham Arnold is going to select in his next starting 11.
He is expecting. He's expecting.
Hey, any chance of a back three, or that was just a rumor? That's not an actual plan.
I'm not ruling anything out at this point, but I would be incredibly surprised if they went to a back three, purely because, again, it doesn't really suit the dynamics of the game that they're going to be playing. Ostensibly, Tunisia are going to switch it up. Tunisia are almost certainly going to play a 4-3-3 rather than the 5 at the back that they played against the Danes. They'll be a bit more attacking, but you don't need... If you're not playing a back 5 for extra defensive cover against Olivier Giroud and Kylian Mbappe, you're not playing it against Tunisia.
Hey, Joey, just quickly, did Graham Arnold hint at how much added mongrel there would be in the second game? Obviously, there's the severe lack of it against Mbappe, as Peter Fitzsimons wisely pointed out. But how much mongrel?
Milos Degenek talked about how this wasn't going to be a game won based on technicality or tactics. It was going to be won based on heart, fighting, and who wanted it more.
It's crazy how little of football is actually based on football. It really blows your mind.
Well, it's funny because I was watching Spain, Costa Rica, and Pedri just wanted this so much that he was, it's incredible. It's weird how he demonstrated it, but he just wanted it to a degree that the Costa Ricans obviously didn't.
Like, this is one of those things where, like, there's a grain of truth in it, in the sense that the Socceroos are absolutely going to have to come ready to do war, because the Tunisians are absolutely going to turn it into one. I mean, there's also going to be, that stadium holds about 42,000. I imagine 38 of them will be wearing red and cheering on Tunisia. Like, this is going to be a coliseum baying for green and gold blood. So they do need a decent mindset. But yeah, obviously it grates when it's the only consideration you sort of hear about. Not that it actually is.
I just think Graham Arnold needs to yell sheepdog and let slip the sheepdogs of war.
Yeah, to be fair, I think if they are bleeding green and gold, I think Graham Arnold will actually be quite happy. He'll be like, I'm looking at the blood. I knew it.
Aussie DNA right there.
I use one piece of symbolism and then never mind.
Joey, you're increasingly resembling a deceased member of the royal family, so I'm going to let you go and let you sleep.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions before I go?
No.
Will you actually get some sleep, or are you going to attend like 3 games in the same city tomorrow?
I'm going to sleep in, then I'm going to the Matchday -1 press conferences, and then I'm jumping on a bus for the 10 p.m. kickoff of England versus the United States.
America.
I mean,
the one and only time.
It's hard to pick a team there. Like, talk about 2 nations that you're just like, ugh.
Can both teams just not lose?
I'm going to be opening wide for some soccer. I don't know about you guys. Good night, Joey.
Right.
Thanks for success. Sleep well.
See you guys.
All right, let's talk. Actually, I've got a couple of good stats for you guys on Brazil. I've got some. I work for Stats Perform. I do occasionally have a statistical insight here and there. Richarlison has scored more goals in all competitions for Brazil than any other player since he debuted in 2018. So he's got a
Wow.
decent return, and he's got
Yeah.
9 goals in his last 7 appearances.
Teacher really likes him, and I don't know if
And you can see why. He delivers.
yeah.
But this is what I was saying before. No one thinks of Richarlison. He's just not at front of mind. Everyone's like, crap, we got to focus on Neymar. Like,
It's because he's
Vinicius gonna be
played
a
for
handful.
Everton and Tottenham, two, with all the respect, loser teams. Like,
Do you reckon the
Hey,
Brazilian? Do you reckon the Brazilian version of the national curriculum are talking about like the Brazilian media's love of Richarlison and just saying it's based purely on NRI?
you know, I reckon there's a Brazilian version of TNC that is far later than we are, and then goes far longer.
It starts at like midnight and goes till 4 in the morning. Vinicius Jr. was involved in 50% of Brazil's shot creating actions, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player. Like, I don't know. When I watch Real Madrid, he's the player that I'm most scared of. He's just a phenomenal talent. And I mean, if with Neymar out, I mean, and if Brazil goes on a run, he could win player of the tournament. Like,
He's my smoky for Golden Ball or Golden Boot. Like, I think if he did either of those, I wouldn't be surprised. He's a really good player.
and I'll say if they replace Neymar with Rodrigo, who he has a very good relationship with at Real Madrid, I think that could help. I think actually one of the things that's underrated about Spain having a good game against Costa Rica is the fact that they're, I think, the only nation in the whole tournament whose midfield is from a club. Like Gavi, Pedri, and Busquets play with each other every week, right? So that familiarity, especially when there was no lead-in time for these teams to prepare and get familiar with. I can't think of any other nation that could just put a midfield 3 or 4 or whatever kind of combination it is with the club side. And that I think will be a big advantage. So anytime that you can kind of get those relationships up like Rodrigo and Vinicius, I think that's going to really benefit nations.
Brazil always win their opening game. They are unbeaten in their last 20 opening games at World Cups. They haven't lost the opening game since 1934. Won 17, drawn 3. So they usually start well, Brazil. Not a team that builds into a tournament. And poor Serbia have lost 8 of their 10 World Cup matches, which is the highest loss percentage of any side to have played that many games at a World Cup. So RIP Damir Kulash, who didn't front up for today's show in mysterious circumstances. I think Serbia was okay. They didn't have their primary route to goal, which is Kostic crossing for the big forwards. So, yeah. And look, they were pretty conservative, but when Brazil's in a mood, it's hard to compete. Shall we go to Switzerland 1, Cameroon 0? Lockie, I'll start with you on this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was an entertaining game. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I really, really enjoyed this, which kind of felt like it flied in the face of a lot of the pre-match sort of expectations and anticipation of this game. Like, the crowd wasn't good. Everyone was like, Cameroon, Switzerland, the 9 p.m. kickoff, who's all that interested? But I thought particularly that the first 45 was pretty pulsating. Cameroon were, like, I don't know about you guys, but like really quite entertaining. Zambo Anguissa in the midfield was just, doing plenty, shuttling nicely. And then I didn't really know how that front 3, fitting a bunch of different kind of players who may be a bit samey into the same attack would work, but it was pretty good. I don't know. I thought Cameroon were a bit unlucky not to come away from this game with something. Switzerland Switzerland in the end, I felt.
They're not a team that really transmits much. I've always found Switzerland quite uninspiring.
Oh, and also Josh, I mean, we'll talk about the goal in a second, but your life flashed before your eyes when Haris Seferovic broke through on goal. I was like, if he scores this, Josh Parrish is 6 foot deep in mud But because he's Haris Seferovic, we know he never scores a goal. So, of course, he fluffed the chance.
He's only scored 2 goals this season, and they were both in a cup game against lower tier opposition in Turkey. So, not exactly coming into the World Cup on a hot streak. Instead, it was Briel Imbolo who started up front for Switzerland, Cameroonian born, and his father still lives there apparently, and he scored the winner, which is amazing moment. And I love these kind of like global stories in football where there's these like crossovers, and you think of the 2010 World Cup when Ghana played against Germany, and there were 2 brothers on opposing sides and things. And there's a lot of those moments with these types of teams. Certainly one of those moments when Serbia played Switzerland last time around in a quite different light. But Cameroon, I thought, faded badly in the second half. Didn't think the substitutes worked out very well, even though Vincent Abubakar thinks he's better than Mo Salah and has said so publicly on multiple occasions, and said if I played for a big club, I'd score more goals than Salah does. Came off the bench, didn't do anything, and they looked a lot better when they still had Toko Akambi and Choupo-Moting, who are these sort of really hard-working, pressing forwards on the pitch. And what about Mbomo? Like, this guy is
Good player.
so fast, so silky. He can do something for Cameroon in this tournament. I don't think they're going to get through the group, but I think they might ruin Serbia's chances of qualifying.
I really liked Akambi as well on the left.
Yeah.
He was fun. And that tackle was from I think it was Drager to deny him what would have been a tap in at 1-0. That was a huge sliding doors moment. I thought Cameroon were like you said, Josh, they really faded. Looked really good going forward, especially on the wings. Like the move to replace Choupo-Moting was, you could see he looked filthy coming off, which is always good fun when he just, like, he didn't have a tantrum, but you could see on his face he did not want to come off.
What about Rigobert Song being the coach? It's just so much fun. Like,
Just
Love it.
vibes.
he's got
Love
so
it.
much drip on the sideline.
Someone said Snoop Dogg was coaching Cameroon, and Snoop Dogg retweeted it.
I'll just say, I was mainly cooking throughout this game, but great dinner, by the way. 3 courses, absolutely smashed it. But
I know we saw the Instagram story still.
Navas. Here's what I want to say. Andre Anana, sweeper keeper. I think he attempted like 55 passes. At some stages, he was higher than his centre backs. So it didn't result in any goals. But I like it when anyone basically plays as a futsal goalkeeper in 11-a-side. So good luck to
Stoll's favourite A-League men's keeper is Liam Reddy.
yeah, tell me that wasn't one of the great moments.
Oh, that was incredible. I was in the stadium when Liam Reddy decided to take on half the Melbourne City team in the 95th minute. It was, I think most Glory fans started laughing. It was just that funny.
My favourite Liam Rennie moment was the penalty that he took against Adelaide in the shootout, where he just absolutely roofed it. He took it like because I think his old man was a rugby player or something, and he took it like a rugby kick. He just got right underneath it. Terrible technique, foot straight through the ball, and it just absolutely. It's the best penalty of all time. Like, it's completely unsavable. Absolutely rocketed into the roof of the net.
Was also in the stadium for that, and that penalty shootout was just madness, because I think Reddy saved like 4 penalties or something. He was insane. Like, that
Only
is
the
insane.
national curriculum could make several minutes of what is supposed to be a match discussion of Cameroon, Switzerland into, gee, what a penalty from Liam Reddy that was.
And that was the game where Marco Kurz got pissed off at the cameraman and nearly attacked him because he was getting too close during the huddle. Yeah, wow, what a game. Any further observations on this game?
I just want to raise 2 things. First of all, where does Granit Xhaka rank in terms of like the great redemption arc stories of football? Because he wasn't necessarily a standout player in this game. He did the kind of things that he needed to do, but the line breaking pass that he played in the lead up to Cameroon's goal, and I know they were a bit shaky defensively, particularly in that second half Cameroon, but the the midfield like splitting ball that he played to Shaqiri, who eventually I think got the assist, was so good. Like it was an amazing pass, and you think like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, this was a guy who was being hounded out of his own club, and in many people's eyes, rightfully, because he tried to start his own fans. But now he's one of the key players in this Arsenal push that are making, and he's producing moments that, to be honest, I didn't think he had in his locker.
It goes Granit Xhaka, Steve from Stranger Things. Just a bit. He's just below Steve Harrington, I think.
I mean, the redemption arc is remarkable, but I still don't trust him. I still don't. I haven't forgiven him. I still don't trust him. I still think he's going to get sent off in a really big game. It's going to cost Arsenal a trophy or something.
Yeah, is he still like a sort of luxury player? Like he works when everything else around him is working, perhaps.
I think so.
I would say I have no thoughts on Granit Xhaka, but the best redemption story in football history has to be Ronaldo Fenomeno 2002, the World Cup. I was just trying to think in my head.
Just recovering from that haircut mainly.
What is the best redemption story in football? I think it's Ronaldo Fenomeno. I'm trying to think if there's another one. Has anyone won like a Ballon d'Or from kind of being like in the mud?
I want to say Luka Modric just to trigger Ante wherever he is, but I don't actually believe that.
Yeah, he was never like, he kind of had a steady rise.
But Ronaldo was more of a comeback than a redemption. Like what happened? Like Ronaldo didn't really do anything bad. He just came back from injuries. Redemption is surely like a villain to hero.
Yeah, but he'd been seen as like, he'd gone missing in that final in '98 and all that.
Yeah, because aliens attacked him the night before.
He had like seizures.
Man, look, I'm telling you, it's redemption. All right.
Okay. So, do we see Switzerland getting very far in this tournament?
They're very
round
reliant
of 16, bro. They're these guys, Mexico, all these teams that are just classic round of 16. Thanks for coming. Once the first time you come up against the heavyweight, out. Like,
to be fair, we would have said that about them at Euro 2020, and they went really deep and beat France on the
Switzerland.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah, but they just rolled a France side that was.
They plodded their way through to a deep run. Yeah, you are right. Stuff.
Switzerland, Senegal. No, not Senegal. Sorry, Switzerland, Sweden, Mexico. Who else is a classic round of 16? Japan. Japan's a classic round of 16 team. Like,
they'd be doing pretty well to get there this year, but they're in a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't do a podcast about the Japan Germany game, I don't think.
Man, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Other podcasts are available.
What I do want to say about Switzerland is still very reliant on Xherdan Shaqiri, who still looks like he could bench press a house. That man is ripped. But
also
he
tiny. He's like,
it's like
weird.
It's like if the Incredible Hulk was 5 foot tall.
Yeah.
I think I've played against a few of those guys in indoor soccer back in the day. Like action indoor sports.
You know how they have Baby Yoda? Baby Hulk would be alright. I don't know if that's a Disney show, but Disney,
it should be
$1 million idea.
ESPN, ESPN Disney synergy is going well.
Yeah.
There's the spin-off to She-Hulk that nobody wanted. All right, we've seen all of the teams in this World Cup now.
Yeah.
Do we have to talk about this 0-0 draw with Uruguay?
No.
Can I just very quickly say it's not related to the game? Just a story to communicate how bad this game was.
Is it about Marco Kurz or Liam Reddy?
No. It's strictly about So I went to watch the 9 p.m. kickoff and the 12 with my mate who lives up the road. He's just finished his uni exams for the year. I was like, let's celebrate. Let's have a World Cup evening. I convinced him to stay up for the 12. I was like, it's Uruguay, South Korea. How cool are Uruguay? It'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and
so I was sitting there on the couch, and I realized at about Oh, hang on. So we're there on the. I don't know where I cut off. So at 60 minutes, I realized.
Start from the
I'm
very
flagging.
start.
Like,
No, don't start. Just go where you were.
okay. I realized very quick, like 60 minutes in, I'm flagging. I fell asleep with my friend and his girlfriend sitting next to me, sitting upright. I missed the last 20 minutes of the game. I just nodded off. And I wasn't trying to. I was just sitting there watching the game. Gone. That's how bad this game was. Uruguay was so bad. They were so turgid. I was really disappointed by them. Fede Valverde had a couple of nice moments, but I think if Uruguay are going to do anything, he needs to do more. Needs to do more because that front three that they picked of Nunez and all that, it just didn't work. There needs to be more mobility in this side for them to actually do anything.
I mean, how much of that sort of conservatism does it relate to them starting Diego Godin at the back? And, Jimenez, who, he's good on his day, but you're always waiting for the next injury to, send him back. It feels like they have to take a few less risks in order to protect those guys.
You know what? They're a little bit the South American Belgium in that, like, they've held on to their golden generation too long. Like, everyone talks about Belgium's golden generation. Uruguay, this kind of Suarez, Cavani, Godin, Jimenez team, they held on to a long time. They had their manager was the same coach for a long time until the last Copa America. So, yeah, I think probably this tournament is one tournament too many. And it might, in the same way for Belgium, I think humbling might be coming for them where, it causes a kind of a big clear out. And I think this will be the last tournament that we see Luis Suarez, that we see Edison Cavani, that we see Godin.
I also like the South Korean backline just looking like Kanye's recent calls after a night out. Just Kim.
Yeah, it was good. It was. Did you see the Italian commentator just went, okay, here's the lineup, Kim, and he just got into the others.
No. I think in Korean names, you're supposed to say the whole name. You're not actually supposed to refer to people, like, they don't really refer to people by their surnames, like in the West. So it makes a little bit more sense.
Parish, Flanagan.
Well, I saw someone say, like, Australia is the king of casual racism. Let me tell you something. Southern Europe destroys us, all right? It is socially acceptable to call someone in Spain of any Asian descent Chino. Like, that's just to their face. Hey, Chino, come over here. So, we have a lot of things to work on, but Southern Europe, oof.
They're so casual. They got their feet up on the desk while they're doing it. Which match are we most looking forward to among the match day 2 games?
Germany, Spain, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, if Germany lose that, they could be out.
Well, yeah, they're gone, I think.
I mean, unless Japan don't get a result against Costa Rica.
Wow, what a disaster. But yeah, Germany, Spain's going to be, because it's also like we have to see this Spain team against, if they produce another dominant performance against Germany, they're not going to score 7 or something, but if, 1-0 or 2-0, then suddenly they, I think, kind of move up to the favourites of this tournament. So that to me is great. Looking forward to England, USA, hoping for a England loss. Australia, Tunisia, obviously, will be amazing. It won't be amazing, but will be tense.
Yes.
South Korea, Ghana, I think it has sneaky good potential because, I watched South Korea last night and in moments they looked really good. They defensively, they really frustrated Uruguay. Valverde and Bentancur in midfield did nothing. And then South Korea kind of looked good when they had chances to go forward. Son looked like Son looked pretty fresh, which was good. He had a couple of really nice moments. But 2 Korean midfielders as well, like when they had their kind of chances on the ball, I thought they were really good, really tidy, and kind of controlled the game quite well. And South Korea defended really well, and they had some real quality when they went forward. They couldn't make it tell on the score sheet, but I think South Korea and Ghana might be a really fun game. But mind you, I said that about South Korea and Uruguay before. And
Look where it got you.
it was Uruguay having a midfield of Bentancur and Valverde, and sitting Bentancur way deeper than he normally is for Tottenham was football terrorism. It was just long ball over the top, long ball over the top. Like Valverde had one moment late where he hit the post, where he just was like, I guess I'll do this all by myself, sort of thing.
But that's what he has to do more of. Like the midfield is the star attraction of this side now. It's not the attack, because as we've talked about it, it's getting pretty washed up there.
But then it was like just long balls it was long balls like Darwin Nunez, and he was trying. Oh boy, he was trying. It was.
Effort is never the problem with Darwin Nunez, though.
I was more impressed with, I think, South Korea than I was Uruguay, and I said before the tournament Uruguay would make the final. So I put all my eggs in the Montevideo basket, and my eggs are currently being used by Pakua to egg Lockie's apartment, I think.
Hey, I think we should wrap it up pretty soon, because I will fall asleep in my chair like
I have to go to work as well and have breakfast. So
we're all going to be looking like Prince Philip by the end of the day. Gentlemen, tremendous ticker. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of TNC's World Cup Almost Daily. Nick Stoll, Ben Smith, Lockie Flanagan, thanks and success.
Thanks and success.